Who was Alex Comfort? She liked what he said, though, about Britain's moral bankruptcy and ceremonial suicide. That was a good turn of phrase. She wrote it down. There was more applause. She put the notebook between her teeth so it wouldn't slip away while she stood up again and clapped. It was, she knew, very un-British to behave like that at a public meeting. Still, needs must. She agreed with every word. She'd sign up, or whatever you had to do, immediately. She removed the notebook from between her teeth and fanned herself again. The hall was packed. How many people were here? She couldn't begin to calculate. Thousands, at least. All of them thinking like she did. Some of them were quite old, too. Nuclear war was wrong. What did it matter if Russia had won the space race? So what if they could fire an H-bomb from a Sputnik? Didn't mean the West had to copy them. America and Russia were like roosters sharpening their spurs. Or was it a game of chicken? The first to blink. Bam! Armageddon. For what? She couldn't understand why so many people didn't see that, harping on about the red peril and world domination, about godless communism and heartless Russians who'd sent the family dog into space and incinerated her alive. They seemed to care more about the dog than they did about people. If there was a nuclear war, there'd be nothing left to dominate. Whoever started it. What was the point of that? That frightened her far more than the threat of Russia. She didn't always sleep at night, dreaming of the nuclear strike, the firestorm, the mushroom cloud, the slow, invisible blanket of poison. Sometimes she wondered whether she'd take a suicide pill, like Mary in On the Beach. Was it cyanide? She couldn't remember. There was an air of urgency here in this room. She was breathing excitement, she and all these strangers, linked in this moment. Even the grumpy man next to her was smiling. She'd never felt like this before, part of a vast, unstoppable movement of change. It felt, she thought, like being in love, swept in an avalanche of hope and adventure. Bliss. She listened to the last speaker, a call to action, a march on Aldermaston. Ban the bomb. We will stop it. Yes. Yes. The meeting came to a close. "Excuse me," she said to the man next to her, pointing to the exit. "Would you mind?" He stood up with a clumsy gesture while she pressed past him, her coat over her arm, hat and scarf in her hand. She pushed to the end of the row, threaded her arms through her coat, and, buttoning it up, walked towards the door. She sensed him stand up and follow her. The crowd was pressing in, and she had difficulty walking. She had to elbow her way through. Excuse me. "We're all trying to leave," a man said. "I know," she said. "I'm so sorry." She didn't want to talk to the angry man. "I have a train to catch." She pushed out into the open air, stepped into Storey's Gate, and cut into Great George Street. The crowd was less dense there. The February night had turned for the worst, so she stood on the corner, tying the belt of her coat tight, clamping her red felt hat to her head, and muffling her neck with her scarf. The street lamps glowed soft and yellow, and she caught a glimpse of the man she'd sat next to, wrapped up in a dark overcoat, heading in her direction. Perhaps she should apologize, step in before he berated her, or ignore him. She'd probably never see him again. She hurried into Parliament Street, crossed the road and walked down Whitehall. There was a gathering in Downing Street with banners, homemade jobs on cardboard. She could make out "Ban the bomb" in the lamplight. She walked past them, looked back. He was still following. The crowd had thinned by horse guards, and she sped up, walking fast towards Charing Cross. There was a Lyons Corner house by the post office. It was still open. She had time for some tea before the last train. Betty could see the man running across the road, entering the shop after her. Oh, Lordy, she thought. The nuns at school had warned her about men who followed women, though honestly, what did they know? Still. The cafe was crowded, but there were a few spaces.